Hi there. I think an intro is necessary for this bookshelf tour because it kind of got chopped up in a weird way that I just want to explain. So I start off by talking about the bookshelves that are on either side of the fireplace. You've seen them before. Then I'm going to drop in the clip that has the books upstairs in a smaller bookcase in my office. And then there's a similar small bookcase in the living room. And I'll see you back here. Enjoy. Hello, I'm back in front of my bookcases that are in the family room, the ones that you've seen on other videos, to talk about the books that are here. How am I going to do this? I guess I'm going to turn the camera around and I'll just walk you through some of the books that I have here to give you an idea of what's on the shelves. Okay, so using a tripod and pointing the camera this way so it steadies seems like the way to go. I won't go through every book, but I will say in general, I don't have books alphabetized. I think I have mostly older books on this side of the fireplace, but that's not entirely true because where I run out of space, I would just stick books in. And I tend to like to group books together by publisher if it has a color scheme that I like. So you'll see that in some of these. So let's see, can you see all the way over here? Yeah, I mean, these are some older books over here, but this is a really cool Ernest Hemingway that I picked up at the library sale. Isn't that beautiful? Who did this? I don't know. The Sun Also Rises, For Whom the Bell Tolls. 4 novels. Oh, it's a Barnes & Noble book. A Farewell to Arms. That's the one I would say out of all of them that I feel like I'll read someday. But this was done in 2007. This was like $2. It's pretty cool. Some notable things to point out. This is another library sale. I mean, look how old this is. And I love it because this is Rebecca, Frenchman's Creek, and Jamaica Inn. I want to reread Rebecca since it was so long ago. And this is one of those, it says book club edition. And it's like from the 50s. Ooh, that is really, really small print. And I know you guys are seeing this Colleen Hoover that I have here. Why? Why do I have a Colleen Hoover? I've never read Colleen Hoover. It's mainly for, what's it called? Nostalgia purposes, because I picked this up at like a free library where we were staying on one of our dive trips, and I just never gave it up. Yeah, here are these, which is called the Modern Library Classics. I don't really like the look of these, but because I tend to pick these up at library sales and whatnot, and at the thrift stores, sometimes I end up with one of these. It has these beautiful golden brown spines. I said beautiful, even though I just said that I don't really not attracted to them, but yeah, so that's why these are together. And then the same is true for these beautiful, what's it called? Oda, I can't think of the word, the color that Penguin calls these beautiful mint greens. I love them. This is similar, but it's a Virago. I tried to get my Viragos together right there. And then, of course, very distinguishable are the NYRB Classics. And it's hard for me to pass one up whenever I see one certainly in a thrift store, but some of these were bought directly from NYRB during an annual sale of theirs. So no rhyme or reason. I will say that as I have picked up and found these mass paperback editions of classic novels like Rebecca, and then, oh my goodness, this is so old. There are pages that are loose. I mean, look how old that is. Did I figure out how old? What does it say? 1964. But for these mass paperbacks like this, I want to read Crime and Punishment, but I will not be reading this one. I will be donating it because, my gosh, look how small that is. And there's a new translation, I think. No, that's Brothers Karamazov. So yeah, that's that. And then really not a whole lot to say about the black spines, but I'm just thinking about these. You know, it's a shame that these black spines have these colors on top. There we go, colors on top. I don't really like that, but sometimes that's the edition you get when you're buying used. And this is just miscellaneous stuff that I've talked about before. I will say up here that Stephen King's On Writing, that's a book that's worth reading if you've never read it, and I am thinking about rereading it at some point. It's got a reading list in the back, so that's fun. All right, I will see you over at the other shelf. Okay, here we are. The other shelves. I try to make most of these more contemporary books, but like I said, I ran out of space over there. So I ran out of space over here, so some of those are over on the other side. But let me get a little closer. Start over here. I only keep books that I've read if they like really mean something to me. So I don't keep every book that I've read for sure. Will I ever read this Lionel Shriver book that I got for, you know, $1 somewhere? Double Fault. Will I ever read it? A novel about marriage, the ultimate sport. It's also about tennis. I actually like Lionel Shriver. Let me know, please, if anybody is a fan of Lionel Shriver. I read The Post-Birthday World. I'm never going to get that back in there right now. I read The Post-Birthday World, but it's actually a book of her short stories that's my favorite because they're longer short stories and they're really, really interesting. I don't know the name of it right now. Let's see. I have this Percival Everett that I need to read. I am not Sidney Poitier. I'm not really an Ali Smith quartet fan, but I have this book called Artful. And what other notables? I think I am signing myself up for a year-long Hilary Mantel, Thomas, whatever his name is, Chronicles for 2024 with the same person that organized, his name's Simon, who organized the year-long War and Peace, a chapter a day. So I think I'm finally going to be starting this. I don't know if I'll like that or like it or anything like that, because now I'm like just so happy to be reading War and Peace every day that can I switch to a Hilary Mantel? I don't know. Time will tell. I do want to try a Jonathan Franzen. I will get to Milkman at some point in my life. This is by far, so far, the best Annie Ernaux that I've read. The slim but very impactful story of her experience in the 70s in Paris and an abortion. Just, oh my gosh, that story. I have never read a Julian Barnes. This might be a good place to start. All of these pretty much are either like $1 library sale or Goodwill, except for this. I did buy the Hanya Yanagihara's both. This I bought used, but this one I bought new. This I absolutely adore. Adore. Highly recommend this book to anyone. Anyone. And A Little Life, I haven't finished it yet. I have a bookmark in here, like 20 pages, 25 pages in. I really want to get to Plainsong. I have never read a calm Toy Bin. So that's there. I have 2 Toni Morrisons, Song of Solomon and Beloved, that I have yet to read. I have a Murakami. This was like questionable when I was picking it up at the library sale, but you know, $1. I have this George Saunders that I really want to, I think those are short stories. Haven't read the oh, yeah. I really need to get to read this. I started reading it during the pandemic and then it just fizzled away. What's this? Oh, a Celeste Ng. All right, second shelf. We will start over here. I have to hold the camera now. Yeah, this is a trollop, believe it or not, in cellophane. I need to really take the cellophane off, but that's how it was sold. It's called Orley Farm. If anyone has read that, please let me know. I've never heard anybody talk about that. And then these were like for a song, these W. Somerset Moms, but they're not any books that I've ever heard of. Christmas Holiday, Cakes and Ale, Then and Now. I've looked them up. That was from the library. I've tried to start Orlando and it just wasn't the right time, but I want to. I've read a couple Virginia Woolfs that I've loved. Is The Wings of the Dove worth it? Henry James. That's a beast of a book. Someday, Buddenbrooks by Thomas Mann, if I ever finish The Magic Mountain. These are these lovely editions of Anita Bruckner, except this one doesn't match. Darn it. I mean, if I have The Beautiful and the Damned here, it means I probably didn't read it because I read The Great Gatsby and the other one. So I guess I haven't read this one yet. I have 2 copies of Frankenstein because this is one of those beautiful, is it a Norton edition? Yeah. I'm going to be reading this fall. And then I have these beautiful orange penguins. Don't we love these? I'm right now reading a Margaret Drabble. It looks like one of these little guys, which I don't really like. I don't really like these little editions, but it's called, or the spine looks like this, but the front has a really cool illustration. It's Jerusalem the Golden. That's been fun. And then these silver penguins. I love these. Look at this. Oh, if that's not a stunning cover. Will I ever read James Joyce? I don't know. I love vintage, these red vintage spines, but I don't find a lot of these used. George Orwell. I have to read the George Orwell again. And will I ever read this tiny edition of Charles Dickens's David Copperfield? Probably not. I will probably buy something with a little larger print. And then I'm going to move my James Baldwin here so I remember I have it, because I haven't read Go Tell It on the Mountain yet, although I read that a long time ago. And then these are just some, like, what do you call them? Coffee table books? Yeah. So I would love any of your comments about any of the books that I've mentioned here. Please tell me what I should be reading and what I should donate according to your reading experience of anything that I pointed out that I haven't read yet. This is my bookcase up in my office, which is a spare room in the house. It's got some knickknacks on the top there, those pens that have the moving thing in them that I used to collect at airports. They don't have very many anymore. And various things. A ornament that represents our beloved family dog that died, Granite, or as we used to call him, Gwanet. And books that are pretty much overflow for me. And then books on the bottom shelf that are, some of them are from a master's program that I took, and some of them are from undergrad because I went to college as an adult, so they're not that old. I went back in 2000. I graduated from undergrad in 2005 and master's in 2007. I worked full-time and then I went to this program full-time. Anywho, so up here, I'm going to get closer now to this second shelf, is the overflow, pretty much fiction. And most of these I picked up from library sales, so I can look at them and think like, oh, this one, this one, this one, this one, I got at that library sale at my own library where they were like $1. Same with these. And then I own 2 versions of one of my favorite reference books, which is Strunk and White's The Elements of Style. I own the original. I love Elements of Style. I love grammar. And the difference here is that it's illustrated. So this is, what is her name? I always forget her name. Myra Kalman has illustrated Strunk and White, Elements of Style. Beautiful illustrations. This makes a wonderful gift to anybody that's interested in grammar, reading, and so on. So I don't know if this had a dust cover and it just doesn't anymore. I don't have any idea. I got it a long time ago. Anyway, this is just overflow. The one that I'm seeing here that's not fiction is 4,000 Weeks. This was interesting. Not sure why I own it. I probably found it at a library sale. It's interesting though. And I really do need to dip more into the Clarice Lispector. That's super fun. Then on this lower shelf, let's see how I can do this with having my camera on a tripod. Let's see, I'll try not to get too shaky, but sorry. I'll try my best. So let's see, what do I want to point out here? I just recently talked about this Durga Chubo's book called Too Much and Not the Mood that I bought at Strand Books in New York and never read, and that I am starting to dip into. One of my absolute favorite books from a long time ago is Don't Sweat the Small Stuff at Work. I probably originally had Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and I think it's either in this one or the original Don't Sweat the Small Stuff is where Richard Carlson said, or he quotes Mark Twain in one of the chapters that says, like, a lot of horrible things have happened to me, some of which have actually happened. That's not it. That doesn't even make any sense. Go look that up. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant quote. And I just was like super happy when I read that because, you know, that's what anxiety is all about. This book is interesting because I picked it up at this wonderful used bookstore in Boulder, Colorado. The One Life Solution, Reclaim Your Personal Life While Achieving Greater Professional Success. And it just tells you or shows you in actual examples how to be a whole person, both personally and professionally, how to bring yourself together. It was really quite profound when I picked that up back in, probably it was 2008. Presidential Difference was in my Leadership and Business Ethics Masters, really great. And the brief A Brief Global History is from my undergrad, which I absolutely loved. It just, as an adult, when you're studying history again, you're just seeing things from a whole other light. And then this is just a book that somebody mailed us, but I can't say I've even opened it, and I probably will end up giving this to the thrift store. This is about, I think this was the church that we visited in London, which is the oldest church in London. And then this I actually bought used because I used to have this book when it first came out. I don't know, late 80s or something. And it was just such a throwback to me when I saw the pictures. It was the first example of how to do things aesthetically for me. And really pay attention to the presentation of food and decorations. And I didn't have any money back then, but I could do this and that and make some really cool centerpieces out of natural things that I could just pick up in outside and spray paint and things. This was really meaningful to me, so I was very happy to dig it out in eBay and order another one. So that takes care of this bookshelf. I will see you at another one. This is the bookcase in the living room. It's like a bit of a loner. It's got all kinds of miscellany in it, and I don't really come to this bookcase except for the guidebooks, climbing routes. Oh my, there's our little sleepy Tookie. Yeah, all right. So we're not going to spend very much time on this bookcase because it's so much miscellany. But up here, I have something fairly new. And then I'm just going to put this tripod down so it's steady. But this is an older guidebook for climbing routes. Seneca Rocks, West Virginia, place that we were just at, with no color photography. This one just came out. Oh, there's Suki scratching. And oh my goodness, it's got beautiful photography. Just stunning of the area. So this was really nice to pick up at the climbing store. Okay, so really no rhyme and reason to this shelf. Just a few special books that I've kept over the years. Nothing really to talk about here, except I did find this other Don't Sweat the Small Stuff from 1997. And then this row, I will tip forward, is all the climbing guides and a few travel guides. These are really cool, these climbing guides from the Gunks. These are the Shawangunk Mountains, and these guides are designed for you to put on your backpack with a carabiner so that you have the route information. And really this is just about knowing the grade of a route, like if something is a 5.3 or a 5.6, and then it tells you the general direction on this big cliff wall of that particular climb and what you might be running into, and different pitch 1, pitch 2, pitch 3, that sort of thing. So there's several of these here as different editions have come out. And that's that. I hope that ending wasn't too choppy, but I had to chop myself off talking at some point because anyway, video producer, editor, I am not. I'm just somebody who loves books and likes talking about them. So thanks for joining me. I would love for you to join in the conversation and just comment on anything that piqued your interest, anything that answers a question that I asked, or talks about a book that you saw either on my shelf and or that I talked about. I'd love that. Thanks for joining. Bye.